Back in mid-May of this year, the Nintendo 3DS hadn't even been out for 2 whole months, yet it had already been treated for 2 of Trafford Tales LEGO games, the first being LEGO Star Wars 3 at the system's launch, and the second being LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean, which was to coincide with the release of the 4th film in the Pirates series, On Stranger Tides. This isn't just a LEGO-fied game of the full film though, as it's all 4 films put together, the other 3 being The Curse of the Black Pearl, the first and the best, Dead Man's Chest, the awkward follow-up with a cliffhanger ending, and At World's End, the needlessly confusing conclusion to the trilogy. Obviously now there's a 4th film, so the whole game is split into 4 chapters, each chapter being the films in order of the release, with each chapter having 4 levels in each, making 16 in total. If you've ever played a LEGO game before, then you'll be familiar with the formula. Going from level to level, building LEGO blocks, solving simple puzzles and disposing of any enemies that get in your way. All are important scenes from the films. Other famous scenes are short pre-rendered cutscenes in quite impressive 3D, making humorous slapstick jokes that the LEGO series is infamous for. The trouble is that without any spoken dialogue, it can become hard to follow the story if you've never seen the films, or like me, haven't seen them for quite a while. It's mainly due to the fact that the Pirates films just haven't got as many memorable scenes as Star Wars, Indiana Jones or Harry Potter. One could argue that the source material is therefore inferior to past LEGO games, instantly making this instalment less engaging. But it isn't. This is partly because the LEGO formula just works, even after all of these years. The cutscenes make you laugh and the gameplay is as solid and addicting as ever. Even if the main game will take an average of 4 hours, many hidden collectibles that are inaccessible on the first playthrough are yours for the taking once you go back and replay the levels in free play, or unlock more characters, of which there are many. They range from your usual motley crew of the ever-delightful Captain Jack Sparrow and Captain Barbossa, to the more obscure characters like Mistress Ching. Where was she? Different characters have different traits that are required to progress through the levels, in typical LEGO fashion. Some blocks need a blacksmith to build, other blocks are buried and need digging up by characters with a shovel, which sometimes you need to find the exact location of with Jack Sparrow's trusty compass. You can cycle through the characters using the L and R buttons, or if you have a lot to cycle through, then you just select them using the touchscreen. There are sections you come to where you must duel with a character, which are usually important fights from the films, like the fight between Will Turner and Jack Sparrow on the beams in the first film. However, these are incredibly easy, repetitive and dull. Once you trigger the duel, you will watch a preset animation of them fighting, then mash the B button to fill the bar up, before following a ridiculously easy 3-button quick time event to finally land a hit. You have to do this twice or 3 times, depending on the character. It makes the climax from The Curse of the Black Pearl, for example, really boring. You just dread these sections every time you encounter them. The idea was okay, but just the execution didn't work in the game's favour at all. Yes, this game is aimed at kids. The LEGO games have never had any real challenge, but past LEGO games did leave you scratching your head on some puzzles. Not here though. The main focus for most people was to collect as many studs as possible, which has always been the game's currency. Collect enough on each level and you get a true pirate status for that stage. It was much harder in the past though to get the true Jedi in LEGO Star Wars, for example. This is mainly because even though you have always had infinite lives in these games, in LEGO Pirates you rarely die. In fact, I count dying only once, and that's because I stupidly fell off a cliff. So yes, this game is easy, even for a LEGO game. Playing LEGO games before in 2-player co-op always made the game harder, as you could get hit by your partner or worse, knock them off a ledge. But it made an infinitely more enjoyable experience. The multiplayer in my eyes was always the best feature with the LEGO games. So the fact that LEGO Pirates on the 3DS has no local or online multiplayer just seems scandalous. The console versions have it, the 3DS is more than capable of it, it's just a case of, oh, get it out in time for the 4th movie's release, I suppose. There is, however, an interesting use of the 3DS's Street Pass. You can build your own custom pirate out of plastic body parts that you've unlocked, then set up 3 fighting moves that get played out over 3 rounds. It's essentially rock, paper, scissors, but with pirates. You'll be rewarded with LEGO studs if you win, and even some if you lose, which you can spend on more body parts to create the best looking LEGO pirate. It's a fun, if rather simple addition for the lack of multiplayer, but not ideal for people outside of populated areas. The 3D, as mentioned earlier, looks great in the cutscenes, but during gameplay falls flat, which is disappointing considering the camera angle is in one fixed position, giving the feel of looking into a box through a window, which should look great in 3D. I'm not saying the 3D is bad, just forgetfully weak. Obviously it looks great in 2D, which was my personal preference of play. Like I said before, LEGO Pirates on the 3DS still has the same enjoyable gameplay and funny cutscenes as its console versions. But without co-op multiplayer, I can't recommend the 3DS version over the PS3, 360 or Wii. Unless you travel a lot and you need your LEGO fix on the go, in which case, sure, can't go wrong here I suppose. It's a fun, light-hearted game for all ages. Just, if you have a choice, go for the home console versions. 7 out of 10.